Thank you very much.
This is the four-man rush. Hello, Panther fans, and welcome to another podcast of the Four-Man Rush. I'm your host, Timmy V.O., here with Kev and Will, and we're going to talk about the quarterback carousel. I should have the Love Boat theme in the background. All you Panther fans are loving some QBs, everybody but Teddy. Well, guess what? The Panther franchise has decided Teddy needs to be coddled a little bit. We need to make Teddy feel real good because we done try to do all these things and try to get the quarterback up in here and we couldn't do it. So, Teddy Bridgewater, we're sorry. And we're going to talk about the whole scenario behind that situation, and we're going to break it down, man. We're going to talk about Matthew Stafford and why he didn't get down to old Charlotte and B of A, and we'll talk about David Carr maybe coming here, and Teddy Bridgewater might be with the Panthers. Man, there's a whole bunch of scenarios, and we're going to talk about that stuff, man. Apparently, the QB position is the hot topic, and we're going to give you guys a quality breakdown on that situation. We got a long way to go. A lot of things can happen. The draft, won't be here for a while, and hell, we haven't been to the combines yet. So, we're glad you're here with us, folks, and we're going to give you an in-depth breakdown on everything you need to know with this situation with the Carolina Panther franchise. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do. We are very grateful that you have joined us on our podcast platforms and on YouTube. But, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button, man. Go ahead. It'll do you some good. Trust me. So, hold to your hats, folks. The four-man rush is on the scene. Well, so, did they give Teddy chocolates and roses? Or what did they do? Did they give a couple of gift cards to Costco? What they give Teddy, man?
We got to run a little back, kind of give people some background on what's transpired over the past, probably 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, something like that.
So
yeah.
We saw we started in January. You had the coaching and GM vacancies. One of them was the Detroit Lions. They ended up filling both their vacant coaching and GM jobs. And Matthew Stafford, you go back to him. He was a incredible prospect coming out of Georgia, high school, all-world quarterback, been elite his whole career. But then he ends up to this horrendous situation in Detroit with an organization that just never seemed to get it together. They had between coaching changes, he had great players around him here and there. He had Megatron when he started his career. how much better can you get than that? But they just never were able to put a complete team together, offense and defense. So you look at Matthew Stafford as a guy, he's probably one of the more wasted talents at quarterback that we've seen actually in NFL history, if you ask me. I think he had a good run with Jim Caldwell. They went 9-7 and made the playoffs. But according to the Lions ownership and front office, 9-7 is not good enough for us. So you got to go Jim Caldwell. In comes Matt Patricia, and the rest. They've been one of the worst teams in the league since Patricia took over. He created a toxic environment. You just saw players celebrating on social media when he left. So now they're once again rebuilding, putting in a new GM, putting in a new coach. So Matthew Stafford at age 33 is at the point you're like, you know what, guys, this ain't working. Let's mutually agree to part ways, trade me, and let's work this out so we can do what's best for the both of us. I get to go to a team I want, and you guys can accumulate more draft picks to help you with this rebuild. So we get that news release, 2 weeks ago, that the Detroit Lions and Matthew Stafford mutually agreed to part ways. And the interest across the league was high. You had probably 5, 6, 7 teams putting in bids trying to get Matthew Stafford. So this is going on for the last 2 weeks. So lo and behold, 3 days ago, we start to see the Stafford trade heating up. They want to get a deal done before the Super Bowl so they can start planning their offseason. And sure enough, guess whose name is in the mix at the forefront of this whole thing? The Carolina Panthers.
Oh,
So the
oh,
Carolina
oh.
Panthers. So Scott Fitterer, he wasn't lying when he said he was going to be in on every deal and be very aggressive in the offseason. So we start to see, okay, what the Panthers are going to offer. Yeah, maybe a second, third rounder, then something like that. Maybe play softball, see what he's going for, but not really serious, right? Like how serious are they? Sure enough, the Panthers offered the 8th overall pick and a late round pick for Matthew Stafford. No other
Wow.
team offered a pick that high. That shows you how serious the Panthers were in trying to land Matthew Stafford. And that's shocking to me because I was told, Rome wasn't built in a day. Sustained success takes 3 to 5 years, yada, yada, yada. Now all of a sudden they're making moves like this, trying to give up top 10 picks to acquire a veteran quarterback. So I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So the deal's close to done. I mean, they're in the process of exchanging medical records and getting Stafford's physical, or not his physical, but to get the process of getting his physical started to trade Matthew Stafford to the Carolina Panthers for the 8th overall pick and a later round pick. So Stafford this is according to Albert Breer from the Monday Morning Quarterback. Matthew Stafford was close to being a Carolina Panther, and a lot of media members, insiders who have a lot more sources than me, thought that was going to be the case. But unfortunately, two things happened. One, I say fortunately, not unfortunately. Two things happened. One, Stafford didn't want to go to Carolina. He didn't want to go to Carolina, Denver, Chicago, or any of the other teams that were in pursuit. He wanted to go to the Rams and play for Sean McVay. In fact, Sean McVay and his wife were in Cabo with Matthew Stafford and his wife, coincidentally, quote unquote, at the same time. And once the deal went through, they met up and had dinner. So, maybe there's a little bit of tampering there. I'm not no snitch, though. Do what y'all do. But so anyway, the Rams come in. They offer a better deal than the Panthers. Someone can pull that up on their screen to get into specifics. But it was a better deal. It offered more picks. They included Jared Goff into the deal. The the Lions' new general manager, I believe, was with the Los Angeles Rams before. So he drafted Jared Goff, familiar with him, and he thinks highly of him. So they got a quarterback out of the deal to replace Stafford, got a bundle of draft picks. Stafford wanted to go to L.A. L.A. got their guy in Matthew Stafford to help take them from a contender to the next level, and everybody's happy. And the Carolina Panthers were left at the altar and, empty-handed. And, maybe that's what's best for our team, though, because I was just not a fan of giving up the 8th overall pick for Matthew Stafford. No offense. I think he's a great quarterback, probably top 10, but I just don't think we're in a situation where this team is a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender.
You guys can see on the screen there, if you're watching this on YouTube, the Rams gave up a Jared Goff and 2 future first rounders and a third rounder. That's a lot. Kev.
Yes, sir.
What is going on, man? I mean, I know now people talking about David Carr. Now people talking about maybe we're going to trade up to get what's it? Some of the young quarterbacks.
Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, even Trey Lance. Like any quarterback outside of Trevor Lawrence. Hell, they've even, because of his Senior Bowl performance, they even saying Mac Jones at number 8. Man, just all kind of rumors flying, man. Like, bruh.
Oh, Matt Rule likes him. Okay. And? Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah, Tim, but, Will pretty much dropped all the facts about what went on between the whole scenario that led up to the almost trade between the Panthers and the Lions for Matt Stafford. Just to add a couple of little small points about that here, I thought it was interesting. If I'm not mistaken, I think Matt's former coach in Detroit, Matt Patricia, I think he went back to New England, right?
Be back with the Patriots.
He's back with the Patriots, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So apparently, Stafford told him, out of all the teams, no, I definitely don't want to go to New England because I guess whatever relationship it was with Stafford and Patricia while he was there during that tenure, he definitely didn't want to be a part of. You can also look at the fact that even if that wasn't the case, what weapons are he coming into? And it's going to be cold. He's been used to playing in a dome environment all his career, outside of road games in his division. So, yeah, it was nothing appealing about, the New England position. So, I thought I'd throw that little tidbit out that I saw on Twitter from that point of view. But, as somebody that proudly say that I'm still on Team Teddy, I know I'm one of the few. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not opposed to the Panthers exploring options. I've been telling the guys in the 4-man rush chat that, we're just doing some window shopping where apparently they was ready to swipe that card and make a purchase. So I'm glad glad it got damn declined, me personally.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tim, like Will's brought up, several times, it's several ways to build a team. Me personally, y'all sold us on, as what Will had mentioned on Rome wasn't built in a day. We're going to build up through the draft. We're going to build up our salary cap so that we're competitive year in and year out. And all these rumors about not only just Stafford, but Deshaun Watson. And now, as of today, the Raiders are looking to possibly move on from Derek Carr. So next week we may have some more tie-ins that, hey, the Panthers almost got Derek Carr, me personally, I'm hoping that it all works out, that the Panthers don't make any moves in free agency for a quarterback. Now, if we draft a quarterback, I'm not going to be too bothered, but I'm just of the mind frame, let's build around Teddy Bridgewater to prepare for whoever's the long-term, quarterback is. And, like I say, instead of wasting that a high pick on a quarterback, let's get one of these, offensive linemen that's coming through. This draft is going to be rich with building up, obviously, our biggest weakness heading into the season, because I don't care who's that quarterback. If you ain't got line, you ain't got shit.
Word.
That's it. Point blank, period.
Word.
So for me, I hope that this has motivated even more Teddy Bridgewater to come in and shut shit down. But like I say, whoever the Panthers draft, if it does end up being a quarterback, obviously I support whoever wears the name on the front. But I just think that this whole process is just more off-season rumors, because ever since Cam first hurt his shoulder and had surgery, maybe the third off-season that we're in the news about quarterbacks. Yep. So for me, this is just another off-season where rumors are running wild. Everybody swear they got sources and inside connects and this, that, and the third, and all that good stuff. So I'm just sit back and I'm just gonna enjoy the show and watch people go crazy and get all hyped up, only to realize that come week one, Teddy Bridgewater will be on the sender.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you brought up a good point about weapons, and I think that's something that people need to understand. Like, what situation is Matthew Stafford going to in LA versus what situation would he be coming to here if the Rams ultimately, accepted our 8th overall pick for him? Man. Mm-hmm. But if you compare the rosters, the LA Rams, number 1 defense in the league, points and yards. Panthers defense, not so much. I love some of the young pieces we got on defense, but they're not even close to being on the caliber of defense that the LA Rams have right now. Offensive line, LA Rams, top 3 offensive line in the league. You don't believe they control the line of scrimmage. They, in the run game, they protect the quarterback well. Don't believe me, ask another source who grades offensive linemen. I'm not a fan of PFF, but if I just shooting in the blank, I bet you they have the Rams in the top 5 offensive line. Someone can pull that up and confirm that for me, but I'll gamble and say, yes, they probably did have a top 3, top 5 O-line this year protecting Jared Goff. Running backs, okay, Panthers probably have the advantage there, but the Rams are no slouch there. Cam Akers was one of the best rookie running backs in the league this year. So they got a strong run game to support Matthew Stafford there as well to go with their top O-line and elite defense. I mean, weapons, you're talking about DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson versus Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. I mean, that's probably a wash. I mean, DJ and Robbie are probably more athletic, naturally gifted athletes than them, but Kupp and Woods are probably better technicians at the receiver position. So let's call that a wash. Tight ends, you got Higbee and Gerald Everett versus whatever we got. That's definitely advantage Rams. So you're looking at LA's roster. I mean, they got a complete, well-built roster that's ready to contend now. That's an example of a roster where we're a quarterback away. We don't need first-round draft picks because we already have our roster built. And plus, our first-round draft picks are in the late 20s. We're not getting top 10 picks because we're a good team that makes the playoffs every year. So our first-round picks are disposable. We can use them to acquire assets to help us go from a playoff team, getting to the divisional round, to becoming a Super Bowl champion. So I think trying to compare a Rams situation to the Panthers, it's just apples and oranges because I think you're looking at one team that lacks cap space, needs draft picks to build, and is not really – I mean, I think we're 2 years away, maybe before we're a serious threat to make deep playoff runs and contend. I think the Rams could possibly be contending for a Super Bowl next year. So, I mean, I think Stafford probably went to the best situation for him at this point in his career on a team that's ready to win now and compete for Super Bowl. So I just think, as fans, we just got to be patient. You know what I mean? It's going to take some time to rebuild this roster up. We got a lot of young quarterbacks in this draft they're going to look at. Don't worry, you're going to get your guy if he's there, and we'll see what happens. But I just think, trying to – and I applaud them for being aggressive in the free agent market. We can't complain one year about how we never land no big names, and then now all of a sudden they're trying to make plays for elite players. But, I just don't know when did the patient rebuilding plan just get thrown in the garbage? Now we're going after, Matthew Stafford and at the forefront of the Deshaun Watson talks. Like, man, I guess they're starting to get a little antsy, impatient, and want to win now all of a sudden.
Yeah, we're going to have to be patient as a franchise, folks. We're going to have to be patient. That's all there is to it. Go ahead, Kev.
Yeah, so I was able to look that up for you, Will, and you was spot on. According to Pro Football Focus, yes, the Los Angeles Rams had, according to them, and you know how we feel about how they grade, but for them, the Rams were third best offensive line. Just a quick summary here. It says Jared Goff has been pressured on fewer than 30% of his dropbacks in 2020.
Wow.
And that's one of the biggest keys to his offense moving forward. So when you're a quarterback that's got beat the hell up in Detroit the way that Matthew Stafford has, because in comparison, he ain't have too bad of a line. They got the Detroit Lions ranked 13th. So he goes from 13 to 3. Meanwhile, let me scroll down and see where Carolina is. We was at 18. So if you're 13, do you want to go up to 3 or do you want to go down to 18? It's really
pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's just really as straightforward as can get. And the only thing they can mention is the only positive for the Panthers offensive line is our free agent to be Taylor Moton. They ain't mentioned nobody else but Taylor Moton.
One man.
Even though Paradis had a strong bounce back year, he's not even mentioned by PFF. Our guards were below average. Russell Coombs, he was decent when he played, but damn, he ain't played but in 7 games. He got his, half his salary in Bitcoins, and he's done trucked up on out of here. So, it really was, a no-brainer, because if I was in Matthew Stafford's position, I looked at it, and I'm sure stuff like that is brought up by his agent, what these teams look like, and what they're not just what they're offering, but what type of scenario is going to put him to win. Because I'm sure, being up in Detroit all those years, that he wants to know what it's like to play for a winning team. He's never won no more than 9 games. He's never won a playoff game.
Wow.
and that's having a prime Hall of Fame, Calvin Johnson, aka Megatron, for a good part of your career. So, I don't blame him. I mean, then when you think about it, where would you rather go? Los Angeles, California, or Charlotte, North Carolina?
I mean,
folks, really?
Come on now. And Detroit's not a small city.
No, it's not small, but it's cold and dreary. You're right next door to Canada.
Yeah. Right now on the lake.
And Matthew Stafford, he went to Georgia, so you know what the South is like. He been up in north in Detroit, so I guess you want to get some Cali love and see what that's like.
California love.
Yeah, one thing we didn't even mention was Sean McVay's system. I mean, Sean McVay probably a top 5 coach in the league. I mean, probably top 3 offensive mind in the NFL right now. I mean, Matt Rule and Joe Brady will be great coaches one day, I'm sure, but I mean, they're not Sean McVay just yet.
No.
I mean, Sean McVay or Jared Goff, looking like a looking like a competent NFL quarterback for a long stretches of time. So what he did with C.J. Anderson. C.J. Anderson left wasn't even a factor as a Carolina Panther. Goes into Sean McVay's offense. All of a sudden, where was this all of a sudden? I mean, that's another thing you got to really look at. I mean, the thing is, man, let's look how the Rams build. They haven't had a first-round pick since Jared Goff in 2016, and they're not going to have one again until 2024.
God.
So look at how they build a team versus how the Panthers want to draft and develop. Rams want to trade their first and acquire big-name free agents. But, I mean, that's just the luxury of being in that big market. I don't think any player is going to complain about playing in L.A.
Word. Really?
I wouldn't.
And
if we like to be a little messy here in the 4-man rush, did y'all see? It says it's a rumor, but I mean, you just never know about the relationship between Sean McVay and Jared Goff, how it went south, which was why, So, and I posted in the chat, Tim. I didn't know if you checked it out, but apparently there was like a group text among the players, a group chat through text messaging, and Jared Goff had made the comment that he loved to bang Sean McVay's girlfriend.
Shut the hell up.
And apparently that got leaked.
Bruh.
So
wow.
it made me Google Sean McVay's girl.
What she look like?
What's causing this man that's got this $160 million contract to get traded all of a sudden?
Come on, bruh.
And then on top of that, for those and Will, you could probably attest to this. I think you had brought it up a couple of years ago when the Rams was on a Super Bowl run. Apparently, Sean McVay has to do a lot of the micromanagement for the quarterbacking for McVay. Like, he's in his ear. Like, one of the reasons why they had the line so early is that McVay is the one that's dissecting defense and telling Goff what to do. So it's basically Sean McVay is actually coach and quarterback, just not physically. And that was just something that McVay is looking for a quarterback that doesn't need his hand held like that. In front of, because now this is his 4th year, and he's still having to do that. So it just seems like that Goff reached his ceiling as far as like what it is that he can and can't do. So
exactly.
That defense have a bad day. They shit out of luck.
I mean, you watched the year they went to the Super Bowl. I mean, just look how explosive their offense was all throughout the year. I mean, Todd Gurley was running at an MVP pace. I mean, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, all those guys were putting up great numbers. They were protecting well. And a lot of that was just because of Sean McVay's scheme. He does a good job of scheming guys open, making easy throws for Jared Goff. And it's just very easy to put a quarterback in that offense. But all of a sudden, you're going up against Bill Belichick in the Super Bowl. Now you're not going to out-scheme, Bill Belichick. There's only so much you can do. And then Bill Belichick, he had his corner, just play tight man coverage, sticky man coverage, get pressure on the quarterback. Let's load up the box, stop that run game, and force Jared Goff to beat us. And what happens? They lose 13-3. So in the Super Bowl, they held the Sean McVay offense to 3 points. And at that point, I just think, they tried to run it back a couple times, and credit to them. I mean, they made the playoffs 3 of the last 4 years, but they hit their ceiling with Jared Goff at quarterback. And I think it limits Sean McVay's offensive brilliance because of the limitations of Jared Goff. Now bring in a Matthew Stafford that can make throws that Goff can't, better decision maker, more talented overall. I mean, it's going to be scary what these guys can be with Matthew Stafford at the helm instead of Jared Goff running this offense. But it just gets back to, again, I think relating back to the Panthers, you're just looking at two completely different situations. A Rams team that's trying to go from divisional round exits to Super Bowls, whereas the Panthers are 5-11, rebuilding, don't really have that foundation yet to be able to, where adding a quarterback isn't going to take them to that Super Bowl contending level yet. And that's why I'm just on the train of let's draft and build, draft and develop, draft and develop. And I think we'll have a golden opportunity this draft to either land our quarterback at pick 8. If they want to trade up, fine. If they want to trade back, fine. If not, keep building the roster this year, have that complete foundation, and you can maybe trade up for one of the quarterbacks next year in 2022. I mean, it's just multiple ways to build a football team. You don't have to have everything right now today. We're only in February. We don't know what September's going to look like right now.
Truth right there. Patience, folks. Patience is a virtue. And like Will said, man, we could get our quarterback. We could trade up. Who knows? I mean, who knows? Personally, and I've been pretty consistent with this. I'm kind of with Kevin here, man. And Will too. I mean, it'd be great if we could just draft back. I mean, not draft back, but trade back a little bit, get some more picks, and fill up a lot of holes that we need, man. We're not a quarterback away from being a contender. We're not. So I mean, and this draft is going to be full of quality offensive linemen. There's some skill position players that we could definitely use. Corner being one of them. And it's middle linebacker position needs to be shored up. I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see. I can't wait. And if you folks haven't checked out the 4-Man Rush website, we've got some great write-ups coming. Got some great write-ups on there now. If you Google search certain topics in relation to what's coming up in the draft, things of that nature, 4-Man Rush is right there, right under Sports Illustrated. So, it's like that. Or D-Jack, it's like that.
Yeah. And do yourself a favor. Just type in Google Sean McVay's girlfriend and go to images. You'll see why he said. Now I understand why he thought it. He just shouldn't have texted that, because when you hit that send button, but Lord have mercy, boy.
Oh Lord.
Woo. Becky like 3.5, boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
He got a little something, don't he?
Yeah. Hey, look, you getting $9 million and living in Los Angeles can get you a lot.
Well, no knock there. No knock there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, check it out if you like.
If you that petty type, but this is apparently one of the reasons why that trade went down. And then another thing they was making a comparison to was the contract, because it was kind of considered that Goff's contract was a move, because remind you, just a couple of years ago, he signed that huge $4 million 4-year, $110 million guaranteed contract. Mm-hmm. And basically one of the reasons why the Rams had to throw in those first round picks was to sweep the deal for Detroit to accept that cap hit, because yeah, it's there, because Detroit is actually picking 7th, one pick before us.
Ooh.
So are they in position now where they might possibly look to trade down? I mean, and think about it. Had the trade went through, they would have had the 7th and the 8th pick. They would have had our 8th and their 7th. So I think it was fortunate that that it didn't fall through that way. So
true that.
Yeah, so that's just the name of the game. Yeah, that's why that's all that the Rams got was just Stafford because they had to give up a lot to make that contract go away.
Yeah, for all those people that want a quarterback so bad, think of it this way. Yeah, we missed on Matthew Stafford, but does this take Detroit out of the quarterback market? So the guy you want, is he more likely to fall to us at 8? So you can look at it that way. If you were on the one of the people that wanted the Stafford trade to go through, and you're disappointed that we didn't get him, think about it that way. Now that Detroit got Jared Goff, are they going to commit to him and pass on a quarterback at 7, and that'll allow somebody like Trey Lance to fall from us? So that's another way to look at it. We look at it from a different perspective.
Yeah, and another thing on top of that, Will, I don't know if you saw this on Twitter. It was a couple of people from the Detroit media who was saying that Detroit might still look at a quarterback because Goff only has 2 years left on this extension, and it was mentioned that possibly Trey Lance at 7 could still be a possible option. It was somebody with the Detroit Free Press that had tweeted that. I saw someone retweet it, and I saw it, and I was like, but that does make sense because you got that 5th-year option. So when Goff's contract in 2 years, if he's maxed out, if he's not the one that's able to take Detroit to that next level, I mean, hey, why not?
Mm-hmm. Why not, man? Shoot, you never know. The chips may fall in our favor. Who knows? And I know. What's that quarterback's name from Alabama? Is it Mac Jones?
Mac Jones.
Yeah, Mac.
We're hearing rumors about him wanting to be, not wanting to be, but he could possibly be a number 8 pick. I don't see that. I mean, he's a good quarterback, dude, but a top 10 pick on him, I don't know.
Yeah, that was one guy from the Senior Bowl. I think it was more speculation than anything. He just saw the relationship Matt Rule and Mac Jones had at the Senior Bowl. And, I mean, you can't even lie. Mac Jones balled all week during practice, was throwing dimes, throwing with touch anticipation, making accurate throws. I mean, come on. He's a 5-star recruit out of high school, and he got recruited by Alabama. So, off the bat, if Nick Saban finds you, you can play. True. And then he's, comes into the SEC, he balls out. And, he's had a good Senior Bowl week. So, he's going to be rising up draft boards. I think he's going to be more likely a top 15 pick as opposed to where the mocks have him going in the 2nd round. 8, though, I don't know if I'm a fan of that. I wouldn't complain, but I think I would rather trade back, land him maybe in the teens and get an extra pick if that's the guy that they want so bad. But I see a lot of negative reaction to drafting Mac Jones, and I don't understand why. I mean, the biggest complaint I see is he was carried by the surrounding talent around him. Well, it's the same talent Tua had last year. Did anyone complain about Tua? I mean, Joe Burrow, how many first-round picks did Joe Burrow and draft picks on his O-line did Joe Burrow have last year? Did anyone complain about the talent surrounding him? So I don't think that's a good way to evaluate players. You just have to look at their traits, what they bring to the table, and evaluate them as if they didn't, as a standalone basis. And I think when you look at Mac Jones in that regard, I think he's a solid quarterback that can excel in the right system. I really do think he'd be a good fit in Joe Brady's offense.
I agree.
And another thing to consider here, fellas, I don't know if probably don't have it memorized, but the draft order, the teams that are after us who are looking for quarterbacks who, depending on how the draft fall, we could be in prime position to get some deals we couldn't refuse. For example, I mean, right after us is the Denver Broncos. Are they sold on Drew Lock? I mean, you know how quarterbacks go in and out of Denver. The Dallas Cowboys at number 10. I mean, with the whole Dak Prescott thing, I mean,
they need a quarterback.
He's coming off an injury. You didn't want to pay him the $35-40 million he was asking for. Do you trust Mike McCarthy to groom, the next quarterback for the Cowboys? Then it's the Giants. They good with Daniel Jones, I believe. Number 12, I mean, 49ers, they're looking to part ways with Garoppolo. If they can't, land a move with through a trade or pick up somebody, they might be looking in the position to jump up to try to get a quarterback here as well. So it just all depends. Even the Vikings, I think they're in the last year of that big contract with Kirk Cousins at 14. Hell, the Patriots at 15. Cam didn't show enough for me to think, hey, he the answer at quarterback. So it's just several teams right after us that could possibly be looking to get our 8th spot. Just something to keep in mind because, hey, at the end of the day, we just fans speculate like the people in the media. So we never know how we never know how this draft can go. We can get all the knowledge and articles and information we want, and at the end of the day, the draft never goes exactly how we plan. So just throwing out some scenarios out there with some teams behind us who are quarterback hungry, who might be trying to jump up and grab whatever quarterbacks remaining.
Word.
Hey man, the best approach this offseason is to be open-minded and realize there's there's multiple ways you can build a championship team. You've seen great quarterbacks like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady win championships. You've seen, above average quarterbacks like Eli Manning, Joe Flacco win Super Bowls. You've seen below average guys like Nick Foles and 2015 version of Peyton Manning, win Super Bowls. So there's multiple ways to go about trying to build your roster. So, it's key is just don't fall in love with one method, be open-minded and realize they got a plan A, B, C, D, and E. So, just enjoy the ride. And, speculation's fun, seeing all these trade scenarios and mock drafts, but, those are just one way you can go about building a team.
Word up. Now, Panther fans, I told you it's going to be thorough. we ain't playing no games. All right, so if you guys have any questions or concerns about any of the conversation that we put out today, rewind this podcast and listen to it again. It's everything you need to know about the Matthew Stafford situation and our quarterback situation pretty much for this point. Yeah, buddy. And Sean McVay's wife is pretty fucking hot. I'm just saying.
Hey, while y'all talking about Derek Goff being in Sean McVay's wife DM, looks like, the Panthers were in Teddy Bridgewater's DMs, with the hey big head, WID, you good? What's up, stranger? With the text, this afternoon with that little article they dropped, like, oh, we were just kidding, man.
These dudes.
Check it on the website. Sure enough, after all that Stafford news leak, you see this long article on the Panthers website outlining the quarterback situation. Like, wait a minute now. Don't be surprised if Teddy Bridgewater is the starter coming into 2021. They were doing our due diligence and sniffing around, but he's still under contract. It sounded like a damage control article. It may have just been random, which it probably is, but it was just, I think the timing of the article and the kind of the change of course about it after all that talk, where they wouldn't even mention the guy's name in interviews, was just kind of, the timing of it was kind of questionable. Looked like they were doing a kind of little bit of puckering up and I'm sorry to you type stuff.
Baby, I didn't mean that.
Yeah, the guy that did the R was Darren Gant. That's what I'm looking at here. So I man, I'm just like, watching this whole situation and watching this sorry ass excuse of a kiss up. You know what I'm saying? Like, bruh, like you act like this man ain't shit. Like, understanding it had the results, but like, for people, it's the fact that people just still want to place the entire blame for the season squarely on the shoulders. Now, whether it's fair or not because of the position of quarterback, you can make an argument one way or the other.
True.
But but you're one of the people that just hell bent in the sand that is all on Teddy. And just because we defend it don't mean we don't hold him accountable. Teddy had some fuck ups and he definitely got to get better.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely.
Unequivocally, without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
But But yeah, this many quarterback options for Panthers, including incumbent. Like really, you couldn't even say
Really?
his name, incumbent.
Including the former starter or something. I mean,
Like and look, then they used a picture of him standing by himself.
yeah, behind the team. Come on, man.
Like, damn, bro, really?
Wow.
That's yeah. So,
Wow.
like I say, I hope Teddy Bridgewater come back in and light this motherfucker up.
Tear y'all up.
Oh,
T-
the pet. Oh,
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 it's
the
coming.
petty. Oh God,
It's
man, it's about
coming.
50 posts. I know which ones I want to
It's
post.
coming. And
My thing is, you go back. Everybody knew what Teddy Bridgewater was when we signed him. We knew he
Mhm.
was not a guy that's going to go out throw for 4,000, 4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns, carry a team on his back, lift a bad roster up, and take you to the playoffs. He's more of a tier 3, tier 4 quarterback, game manager type that needs more around him to succeed. So I just find it interesting that all of a sudden we're saying the team is saying things like, "Oh, we need a quarterback that can go win us games, do this, this, and that." Well, how come we the fans knew what Teddy Bridgewater was when you signed him, but you're
Right?
just learning this now? So you're putting these things on his shoulders that he was never accustomed to doing.
What's wrong with
So I
y'all?
just like, this is the guy you guys handpicked to run your team, and you knew what he was. So why all of a sudden are we shocked that he is what he is at this point? And that's kind of where I'm coming from with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the good comparison with quarterbacks, I like from the Move the Sticks podcast, they said the quarterbacks have two categories. You got trucks and trailers. Trucks can carry a team and lift them, a Patrick Mahomes type. Patrick Mahomes is a truck. He'll take his roster, he'll carry them, he'll make plays down the stretch, he'll be clutch, and he'll go win games for you. Then you have trailers. They need to be carried by the roster around them. So you have to build your O-line, have elite skill position players, have a top-tier defense, and your quarterback can just manage the game, get the ball to playmakers, be that distributor, play within the system and win games for you. I think, and there's nothing wrong with that. We've seen trucks and trailers win Super Bowls. But, if you were to put Teddy in a category, he's more of the trailer. So I think if you're going to pay him $23 million or whatever, you have to put that team around him if he's going to succeed at all. He's not going to be a guy that's going to go 400 yards and 5 touchdowns and win you a bunch of games with no-look passes and things like that. And that's fine. It just depends on how they want to build this team. If they want more of an explosive athlete, more arm talent and arm strength at the position, they'll have options in the draft to do that. But they can also go about building the roster around him, having Teddy continue to run the ship with a more complete roster, and then plug in a young quarterback in that roster down the road another time. So we have options, man. That's always a good thing. But that's just something that always got me with all the Teddy criticism.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is, 2021 draft is not the last draft that they're going to have NFL ready quarterbacks to come in. Like, you would swear that this is the last chance for the next 5 years to grab your quarterback. I mean, my God. Fans are just enamored with that. You got to get the quarterback. It's just, understand that linemen are not sexy. We get that.
Sure.
We 300 pounds. We got belly. We got some fat rolls. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of sweat going on. We understand that ain't eye appeal. But you ask any quarterback that's successful, what that means to him. There's a reason why, more NFL linemen got Rolex watches than any other position.
There you go.
There's a reason for that. So I just, like I said, is keep an open mind. And I got to remind myself of that because, like I say, I'm on Team Teddy, and I want to build these trenches up and breaking down this film and content of the players coming out. I'm like salivating, like, man, we really could legit draft 4 starters on the offensive line out of this draft.
Yep.
Like,
Real
the
talk.
talent is there, and I would just, I want to improve from the 24th ranked pass block win rate. You know what I'm saying? And what that means is the offensive lineman ability to maintain his block for at least 2.5 seconds or longer. We were 24th. So when fans are talking about, man, Teddy can't throw the deep ball.
Shit.
Well, according to Pro Football Reference, Teddy's average time in a clean pocket was only 2.3 seconds.
Average.
So that means some of the times it was quicker than that.
Check down Teddy. Check down Teddy. Oh, well, actually.
Yeah, so, I mean, we understand there's levels to this, and we understand that fans' knowledge and concepts of the game is levels to it as well. We get all of that. We understand that. But, folks, when the four-man rush try to, share knowledge, insight, and concepts, it's not that we feel like we're bragging or we're know-it-alls. We just simply want to point to what's been proven year after year after year. It's not like we got some sort of ego or anything like that. We just simply want to do what we set out from the jump. Our job here is to put our fans on the game. Take a game with a lot of complex terms and concepts and break it down for you in a way that you understand.
That's right.
You just can't put in just say, oh, just sign a couple of linemen and let's go. It don't work that way. For those that wasn't around before the Super Bowl, we had the audacity to put out Nate Chandler and Byron Bell to protect Cam Newton.
Think about that.
That was 2014 season, folks. So, it's like I say, it's not sexy, but it's highly necessary to have success no matter who the quarterback is, whether it's Teddy, whether it's PJ, Will Grier, whoever it is. It's just a necessity.
Real talk.
Yeah, I think the people think that sacks are a offensive line stat, and I don't totally agree with that. I think it's a combination of 1, scheme, 2, offensive line, and 3, quarterback. So I think quarterbacks like Russell Wilson that do more improvising, hold the ball longer, want to make a bigger play than what the defense gives them, they're going to take more sacks than a Teddy Bridgewater that gets the ball out in 1, 2, 3 seconds. So I don't really think you can just say, oh, the Panthers didn't give up that many sacks and pressures. The offensive line was fine. That's more about Joe Brady's scheme, getting the ball out quick, and, Teddy not being a improviser that's going to try to extend plays and hold the ball for a long time. So I think that's kind of the misunderstanding about offensive line play sometimes. People try to find stats to somehow measure offensive line play. You can measure a quarterback through passer rating, yards per attempt, completion percentage, whatever you want. You can measure running backs through stats, wide receivers, DBs. They all have stats that you can look at and say, oh, this guy did this, this, and that. I don't think you can do that with offensive linemen. You have to watch them play by play and see if they're winning their reps. And if you look at the Panthers O-line, I don't like PFF very much, but at least they do look at every play. I think the only guy that was graded well was Taylor Moton. So this wasn't a very good O-line this year. I think it's definitely an issue, an area that needs to be addressed headed into the offseason. But I think I do see why people think they were a good line and just try to look at stats and try to find stats to measure them. But I just don't believe you can measure offensive linemen by box scores.
But man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. One step closer to I guess the combines. Are the combines still going to go down as planned, or?
It's a little bit different this year. They're doing, I think, local combines, so they're not going to all meet up at one place in Indianapolis because of the COVID thing.
Yeah.
But they are sending out. They are inviting guys. I've seen a few guys get combine invites, but I think it's going to be like a glorified pro day type deal instead of having a bunch of people gathered in one location.
And well, it's February now, folks. So it's right around the corner. We get some more info on how this the draft order is going to fall out in terms of talent coming off the board. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But I tell you right now, I'm with Kevin. You get them trenches on point. with a healthy CMC and watch us act a fucking fool. Watch out. Real talk.
Yeah. I mean, we keep talking about the offense line for the quarterback, but think about the ability to give Chris McCaffrey 2 or 3 yards before he get touched. Think about the linebacker being the first person that's got a shot at Christian McCaffrey.
Ooh.
I can't think of maybe 5 linebackers that maybe have a chance to get him on the first move, and he's gonna come back with a hell of a chip to prove after missing all of last season. I mean, man,
Basically.
my God, if you're not salivating to get this line right, like you're just not missing the importance. It's more than just the quarterback. It's just the offense line is going to help out that defense. Because it's just
sustained drives and scoring touchdowns in the red zone, man. That's what the O-line offers, folks.
Yeah,
I'm saying even if you aren't a fan of Teddy Bridgewater, why wouldn't you want the team to make a heavy investment in the offensive line for Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Mac Jones, Deshaun Watson, Matthew Stafford, or whoever you want back there behind center? I mean, at the end of the day, you got to protect who's ever back there and make that investment. I mean, I know the Chiefs are kind of the Chiefs' offensive line perform well when they're healthy. So, I mean, it's kind of misleading looking at their Super Bowl roster and saying, oh, they have a terrible O-line and look what they're doing. But I think they're a function of their wide receivers get open so fast. Patrick Mahomes gets them the ball quick. So when your receivers can get that quick a separation, it makes the O-line's job a lot easier. And I think Andy Reid and Bieniemy just do a good job of scheming around that. And they have an all-world quarterback that I doubt you're going to find again in the next 10 years. So, I mean, I think they haven't made a big – they have invested in – Eric Fisher was a number 1 overall pick. But the amount of money they spend on that unit is not very high. So, that's one exception you can see. But on the other end, look at Tampa Bay. They have a very good offensive line. So we'll see how the trenches affects the Super Bowl, if anything.
Yeah, pretty much that's what the game gonna come down to. I think I shared a tweet earlier, Tim. It was saying that the total, what is it? Something about the total amount of cap space on the Chiefs starting offensive line in the Super Bowl is less than the dead cap space that they just paid Eric Berry, the safety.
Shit.
He ain't played in 2 years now. They owed him $8 million. Because the Chiefs have 2 7th-rounders, a practice squad guy, and 2 undrafted free agents that look like are going to be the starting offensive line in the Super Bowl. Their total combined salaries was only $6.3 million. So, folks, please don't take that seeing this Chiefs offensive line as, that's the way to go. They won the Super Bowl and they ain't spent but $6 million on their line. No. It's deeper than that, folks. It's way deeper. Cause remember, I think, and Will, you can correct me wrong, didn't one of their offensive linemen opt out and they've had 2 more go on IR and something like that?
Yeah, they've been hit with injuries, and now the starting left tackle injured. So they got to have the Mike Rimmers redemption show at left tackle starting in the Super Bowl. But like I said, find you a Tyreek Hill that can get open in 2 seconds and blocking is a race right there. You don't need to block nobody. So, good luck finding you a Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Tyreek Hill that, a system like that where they just get open so quickly, it kind of minimizes the impact of having a low investment in that O-line.
I know.
But even then, just because they don't spend on it, they are talented offensive line. They run the ball pretty well. Edwards-Helaire was pretty productive his rookie year. So, we're not. And that's the thing with us too. We like a lot of day 2, day 3 O linemen as well. We're not saying we have to use the 8th pick on an offensive lineman. It's just we need to do good scouting and make the proper investment.
Mm-hmm. Let's not. Yeah. Just hold on to your hats, folks. Hold on to your hats, man. There's no telling what's going to happen. There's a lot of things can go down between now and April. So,
And it's crazy. A former Panthers going to be a Super Bowl champ because for the Chiefs, it's either going to be Mike Remmers or for the Bucks, it's going to be Russ Cockrell. He's on the he's on the
Cockrell.
Bucks. Yeah,
For real?
Cockrell. Yeah, he's I think he's number like 43 for them.
Oh man.
So yeah, man. So hey,
He'll get some burn in the Super Bowl, probably.
Man, I'd love
Yeah.
to see Mike Remmers redeem himself, though. That was an ugly Super Bowl he had 2015 that he'll never live down. Now he has the opportunity to go against Shaq Barrett and JPP and try to redeem him. I mean, I expect him to get abused. I'm just being honest, but I mean, like he said, he had an interview today. He said, "I'm a different player than I was in 2015." So, you know, I'd be happy for him if he was able to come out, perform well, and redeem himself a bit. I wouldn't be able to live with that.
Right?
Yeah, but please don't put no Ross Cockrell on Tyreek Hill. Please don't do that man like that. That's a setup.
Shit.
You know, you already catching hell in the slot with a McCole Hartman. Don't. Man,
you can't even put a drone on Hill, bro.
And let's not forget the last time they played toward the end of the season, in the first quarter alone, he had 200 some yards and like 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he went completely.
I mean, he went ape shit.
Oh my god, completely.
Yeah, the Bucks corners like to talk, so I mean they paid for that with Tyreek. But I don't know. I like them talking to Michael Thomas though. But they'll try that with Tyreek. So be careful.
Yeah.
Boy, it's gonna be trouble.
Well, all right, Panther fans. This is what you call thorough. Any parting shots, gentlemen?
Yeah, keep on the lookout for the website. We got 2. We'll try to do one every day, every other day or something. But we're starting to do the draft profiles for various players. We've done 2 already for Zach Wilson and Trey Lance. We'll have Trevor Lawrence one coming up, which should be, very interesting. Justin Fields. We'll get into the offensive linemen. We'll get Michael Parsons, Patrick Surtain. HBCU prospects are something we really want to get into if we can find the film. That's going to be a hard struggle there.
It is.
Anybody knows some connections there, get us some film for these HBCU prospects, and we'll give them some exposure. But, just be on the lookout, man. We're going to try to keep y'all feeding y'all content for the draft, all the way up till April.
Right on. Any parting shots, Kevin?
Nah, short and sweet as always. Thank our fans. Like, we have such a good time interacting with you guys on social media, like especially on Twitter. If you ain't following us on Twitter, you're missing.
Y'all missing out.
Y'all straight up missing out, man. And if you get a chance, I'll try to post a link. I had a last second interview this past Friday with Quick Blitz. I was contacted by the lovely Vashti Hurt and Sheena Quick to do. Apparently, I was tagged by several people on Twitter to be one of the fans that they wanted to do like a debate session with another Panthers fan, and I guess we all had opposing. Well, me and this other Panther fan had opposing views, and we had a little Twitter exchange back over in the summer that, well, I'm gonna leave it there. I pulled a card, but anyway, so yeah, just follow us on Panthers Twitter and just and keep it on the social media sites, and like I say, just keep watching out for this website, and you're gonna be impressed what we're doing behind the scenes. A lot of many hours of film watching has been done, still been done, and we're doing it for the love, folks. Nobody's securing a bag behind this. We're doing this because we just love, what we stand for.
Realness.
Yeah, shout out to Luke Cage, man. He follow us on Twitter and YouTube, man.
Yeah.
Pushing out content, man. I had to sneak that in there, speaking of followers.
What's good, Luke? My man, keep it 100 too. All right,
and I got one. I'm sorry, I got one. I had a female friend of mine hit me up and was like, my karate instructor, he a big fan of the 4-man rush. I'm like, huh? because and I was like, really? Well, what's his name? Yeah, I was just like, okay. So his name is Delmar Minor. He said he listened to all our podcasts. So Delmar, I want to make sure I got it in. Mr. Delmar Minor. Tim, check this out. He teaches at the Northern Shaolin School of Kung Fu in Rock Hill, South Carolina.
Shaolin.
Yes, sir. So yeah, Delmar, I don't want you to think I forgot you. He chatted up with me for about a good 15 minutes before my friend had to leave. But just want to make sure I gave you a shout out. Keep my word. I told him I would shout him out on the podcast because he said he downloads it through iTunes and he hasn't missed one yet. So appreciate the love.
Outstanding. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you all the Full Man Rush fans, man. We really appreciate y'all, man. That's all right. Now, I guess we should do more of that on our podcast, man. Giving shout outs to you guys. We wouldn't be here without you. So, in that case, if whether you're listening to this podcast in the morning, afternoon, or evening, thank you so much for checking us out. And once again, and if you're checking us out on YouTube, please subscribe. You're gonna wish you did, especially when April comes around. Guarantee you. So, on behalf of Kevin, Will, and myself, you guys hold it down, man. Stay safe. Get inoculated, get your shots, and all that other good stuff. Pet your dog, wash your cat. Put some deodorant on, and as always, keep pounding. Just stinking ass. And that's a clear.
Did you really say deodorant, Tim? Damn.
I did. By Menon.
I'm just taking time to really let it breathe. So baby, just chill. She love it. We out in public and we can just chill with my partners, or we can go back to my crib and just chill under covers and do we call me and you lovers.
The Foreman Rush is brought to you by the love and respect of and for the Carolina Panthers and Carolina Panther fans everywhere. Keep pounding. The Four-Man Rush is a non-affiliate of the Carolina Panther organization. All thoughts, assessments, and content of this podcast is directly related to the Four-Man Rush exclusively. Thank you.